word addiction scares people. They think of the guy living under the bridge with a needle in his arm, or the guy pushing that cart around the Bowery or stealing or whatever, people in prison. They don't know that addiction turns into recovery.
Love these guys.
You've been friends a long time?
We've been friends a long time. They're good guys. They're good people.
Hi, I'm Ken Pomerantz.
And I'm Ron Tannenbaum.
And we are in the Rooms.
When I was getting high for over a quarter of a century, the drugs was an integral part of the process of writing.
It was Gainesville in the 70s. There was a lot of parties, a lot of stuff going on.
I wrote a lot of hits for a lot of the big artists, high. And so when I was faced with the proposition of getting clean, I couldn't understand how I would continue the creative process without the drugs.
I was a high school dropout when I found recovery. I did not have a GED, and I pursued that in recovery, and then went to college, got my degree, became a teacher, and I went from being a troubled student when I was in high school to eventually becoming Teacher of the Year at the school that I'm at right now.
You know, I come from a very good, a great family, and I was given a lot of great traits growing up. I just think I ended up getting off track, and so I just made a lot of really poor choices, as a young adult.
At the time when we first met, neither one of us was in recovery, so we were out there drinking and drugging and using and having that sort of relationship.
And my buddy said, "Remember Kenny?" I said, "Oh, yeah, he used to have a cast on a certain part of it, his ankle, his hand, his fist." In college, we knew each other from Gainesville, from college, and he was always falling down, stoned, getting hurt.
I grew up in Miami Beach. My father was the police chief. As long as I can remember, my dad was very, very well known. Anybody that heard my last name, Pomerantz, would say, "Oh, are you any relation to the chief?" He was on the news every night, and he was a larger-than-life character. And I grew up in his shadow, feeling less than. And when I got into drugs, it allowed me to kill the pain that I had growing up, feeling insignificant, I suppose.
They said, "Come on, we're going to a meeting that night." I said, "I can't go, I'm too sick." And they grabbed the wastebasket and said, "You can puke at the meeting," and put me in the car and took me to a meeting. It was in someone's apartment, and they all had smiles. They looked good, they dressed good, had nice watches on, and they were as crazy as I was. Did the same things that I did, and I walked out of there knowing I would never use again.
And he would say to me from time to time, "We've got a seat for you whenever you're ready." And I would, look at him and laugh. And, "Yeah, well, it's good for you and the rest of you guys, but not for me. I don't need it. I'm fine. I'm fine." And I wasn't. I was dying. Excuse me. I was dying inside.
What happened was he kept saying to me, "You've got a problem too." And I'd say, "I don't have a problem. You're the one that's got the problem. I have a college degree. I'm educated. I'm not sticking needles in my arm. I'm not an addict."
Well, what pulled me together was my 5th DUI. And I can't tell you how many times cops heard my last name and would call a cab or drive me home themselves or call a friend of mine to pick me up. Countless times I didn't get arrested when I should have. I still got arrested 5 times, feeling that I was invincible. And what happened was I never thought it would work. I never believed that anybody that used the way that I used could ever get help. And I checked into a treatment program, and something made sense. I went to a meeting, a 12-step meeting, and people told my story.
I was newly in recovery. I had a year clean and sober, and I had just moved into an apartment with a girlfriend.
RT and his girlfriend at the time, Phyllis, now his wife, tried to fix me up with this young lady up in Fort Lauderdale. So I went to a dance. It was a fundraising dance for a fellowship. And I followed her immediately, and she goes up to RT's girlfriend at the time, Phyllis, and they start talking. So I go search out RT. I said, RT, who's that girl talking to Phyllis? And he goes, you schmuck. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, you schmuck. I've been trying to introduce you to that girl for the last 90 days.
We talked for hours, and he was a really easy guy to talk to.
I just loved everything about her.
And I was smitten, but he was even more smitten, and I knew it.
2 weeks later, I bought the ring that she's wearing today. 30 days later, I flew up to New York and proposed in a handsome cabin in Central Park.
He knew that's what I wanted my whole life. I mean, it was an amazing, amazing love story.
Hi, I'm Philly T. I'm RT's wife. RT really is an entrepreneur at heart, and that's really one of the things that I loved about him. And it's sort of the yin and yang of us, because he's more of a risk taker and I'm more of a methodic, sort of a grounded person. So the two of us together is good because he pulls me and I can pull him. And I distinctly remember the first time I met him thinking that he was actually interested in what I had to say. But he was a listener. And I thought to myself, wow, this is a different person, different man.
Nobody would understand me the way my husband understands me. We just get it.
We're not those people living under the bridge. I don't think they realize that. We're your kid's teacher. We're the judge you're in front of. We're the lawyers and the plumbers and the carpenters. They're our grandparents. We're parents. You know, we're substantial, responsible members of society.
Hi, I'm Tony Fellows, Chief Pop Officer of Hip Hop's Handcrafted Gelato Bars. I've invented the newest and coolest way to eat gelato and sorbet and frozen yogurt, and that's on a stick. So we handcraft all of our products in small batches in a very artisanal kind of way, sourcing a lot of our ingredients locally. I was talking to RT about finding really what my passion would be. I didn't know if I can earn a living, doing what I'm currently doing, but I had some faith, and I really believed in what I was going to do, and so I'm living my dream. And I'm living my dream because of the fact, I believe, because of the fact that I'm in recovery. I was available for really great things to happen for me, and it's really been a miracle.
My passion goes along with my job because I am a preschool teacher and I have about 18 4- and 5-year-olds each year, and I get to touch their lives on a daily basis.
My life is transformed immensely. My songwriting isn't what I do, it really is who I am.
My passion is yoga, and I am a certified yoga instructor. So for me, it was really a relief. And also I found that the philosophy behind yoga dovetailed so beautifully with recovery in the 12 steps that it was just sort of a natural for me. He really has opened up to my world of yoga. And I really appreciate that. And he's really embraced the Kundalini yoga amazingly. And he loves it.
I'm a recovering alcoholic, and my name is Mark Dunn. And I'm also a certified recovery coach.
And there are children who have the same kinds of issues that I had when I was in high school, that I can really help them. And they don't even know how or why I know how to help them. It's just because they are me. And when I teach math, when I'm a teacher, I don't teach just math. There's so many other parts of my job.
When I found recovery and I found out that I can help myself by helping you, that was perfect for me. Listen, that's how I get high today.
I know I don't promote myself as anything special, but my life is special. I lead myself with integrity today and surround myself with people that have integrity and do what they mean and say what they mean. And it's attractive. It's that expression that we have. It's the attraction rather than the promotion. So when it's attractive, people wanted.
In the Rooms came about. Our RT and I both have kids that were involved in Facebook and MySpace. I was on a website called Flickr, a photography website, and we had started talking on Flickr about being in recovery with some of my friends there, and it was not anonymous. So we just got the feeling like, wouldn't it be great if we had an anonymous place to talk about recovery? And RT and I were working together in a marketing company, and I go into Ronnie one day and I said, what do you think about a Facebook for recovery? And he goes, great, let's do it. And I said, no, I'm serious. I'm serious. I think it's a great idea. He goes, no, I'm serious too. Let's do it.
When I heard the idea, I'm very impulsive. I've always been in my own business, never worked for anybody else since I've been in recovery. And it just hit me like, this is an unbelievable idea. And I meant it. When he said, well, what do you think about a Facebook for recovery? I said, let's do it. And I meant it. I mean, I just thought I thought the recovery community was ready.
When Kenny and RT started in the Rooms, we were friendly, and they told me about it, and I was all in right from the beginning. I mean, whatever they, first of all, they had been exceptional friends to me for years, and I would do anything that they asked me to do. And they didn't want anything from me. They just wanted me to be part of it.
We put down the vision and decided to fly out to San Diego to see his ex-business partners from internet business. They really were being courteous to us. They thought they were going to tell us, don't try it.
Right, they wanted to talk us out of it.
Right.
Because they thought it was a dumb idea.
Exactly. So when we went out there, we had a presentation, and we gave our presentation and ad-libbed with our passion. And they were both sitting there, and you could see as we were presenting this, that they went from like this to like this, and they started to relax, and they went from a straight face to a smile on their face. And at the end, they looked at each other and said, God damn it, this is gonna work.
Richie offered, he said, what can I do to help you guys? I love what you're doing. What can I do to help you? And I think we both said at the same time, well, a song would be nice.
Yeah, that's exactly how he said it.
I mean, we never really thought, I gotta tell you, we always had some doubts that he was actually gonna do it. He was always so busy, and I kept on asking RT, what do you think? And we weren't getting anywhere, and then one night he called and he just said, I nailed it.
Right.
You have to wait on the big man. You know, I just hold the pen. He tells me what to say, and it wasn't ready to be born, the idea. So it was a bit. It took a bit of time, and then when I realized what it was that I had to say, it flowed. It was meant to be. You know, it was just something that I had to do. I felt compelled to do it out of respect and love and believing in what they're doing. So it was just a moment. You have to. It's like waiting for a train. You got to be patient. You hear the clicking of the tracks, and there's a train coming. Get a pad, get a pen. You know. And my job as a songwriter is always be at the station.
Well, I remember when we sent the package into the Prism Awards, you know, blind, the Dayaks called up and said they were crying when they listened to the song, you know. So, and she said, well, it's going to be voted on and all this stuff, but thank you for sending in the package. And then, you know, of course, he won for the best song of the year.
It was a wonderful experience. As a matter of fact, RT and Kenny, we all flew out to LA, and we went to the awards in 2009 when that song won. It was a great experience to be acknowledged.
So they came up with this idea about networking and actually go on the site and you can see all these faces. How has this impacted the world, do you think, the world of recovery?
I do a meeting on Sunday nights on intherooms.com. And I'll never forget, one night I'm doing the meeting and this guy clicks on to share, and I call on him, and he's in Sweden, and he's a young kid in his 20s, and I think he said he was 30 days in recovery, and a month before he had been living in a tent in the woods, and now he had an apartment. And he was working with other people in recovery in Sweden, and he just found out about In the Rooms, and he wanted to come on because he wanted more people in his recovery. And I was sitting there, and I'm listening to this kid talk, and it just, dawned on me that he's one of thousands of people that are connecting with other people in recovery all over the world.
They're writing about their lives. They're writing about single moms are writing about their experiences. People that are going through health issues are writing about their experiences. Legal situations. People are blogging their daily life and letting people know what they're going through. They're no longer alone. That's the big thing about a social network, is that sense of camaraderie. And when people go and post these things, they get feedback. Say, oh, wow, I know what you're going through. Or when people are going through these tough things, we've got people that have terminal illnesses, and they're writing about them. It's the most powerful thing in the world, and it never ceases to amaze me, the bravery that these people have to go there, and yet they're getting lots of love and warmth back. It's a very warm site.
I know I talked to a girl that I met when she first came on from Vermont that I'm still in touch with today, and I think without In the Room, she probably would not still be in this world.
I also enjoy the discussions. I really like the humor that I found there and the friendships that I found there. I've met David, who lived 4 hours away from me. I've made friends in San Diego. I went out and met a friend there. I've met a friend from North Carolina. She's come here, I've gone there, I've spoken for her at a convention there.
People, at first I was just thinking in the United States, like that someone who wants to hike up in the mountains of Northern California could meet someone who likes to surf in Florida, and the two can get together. But now I've come to find out, because I'm on these video meetings, I participate in them, that there's people from all around the world. I mean, there's people from Scotland, Ireland, India, Italy, Australia. It's just amazing.
Well, at the time, I had a really stressful job. I was spending some time online. I was kind of isolated. I was single, and I worked a lot of hours. So I would come home, and then I would find myself online and joining the discussions, which I enjoyed the most. It's probably my favorite part of the website. And and just getting to know different people and adding friends. And I actually had a lot of fun. It took up a lot of, got rid of a lot of loneliness in my life at that time.
I think it makes the recovery world a lot smaller, and so it brings like-minded people together that have the same interests, and you're able to kind of meet different people from different parts of, either the country or the world.
They've brought a worldwide recognition to recovery.
In the Rooms is for the 23 hours that you're not in a meeting.
So did you ever think that you were going to actually find your partner in life from an internet site that wasn't Match.com?
I really didn't. It kind of took me by surprise. And I'm not mad at RT.
No, when I went down to meet him in person, and we had corresponded back and forth for a while, and I really enjoyed his intelligence and his sense of humor, and I thought I was going to meet a new friend down in the Keys. And for me, it was love at first sight when I met him. I did not expect that at all. I thought I was going to go meet him, have sushi, and come back.
But for me, I'm proud of who I am today. I'm a man with long-term recovery that has a responsible place in society. That's a dad of 2 wonderful kids that have never seen me or my wife pick up a drink or a drug, that they know when we tell them what we do and how we live, that's how we role model our kids. We don't tell them just go do this and do it. We do it ourselves. People walk through our doors and hug each other and love each other. My kids grew up with that. That's the legacy that I'm proud of.
My name is Jake Tannenbaum, and I am the son of Ron Tannenbaum and Phyllis Tannenbaum. Growing up in the rooms was a very humbling experience. I used to attend the Friday night NA meeting sitting in with my parents because I didn't have a babysitter, so I had the opportunity to be exposed beforehand to these various situations. Kind of a privilege to me to be predisposed to what is going on in this world that many other teenagers or young adults don't even have any clue about.
RT helps me in so many areas of my life, and it's really been a wonderful relationship. His son, Jake, I've known Jake since he's 5 years old, and so he's almost like a son to me.
Last summer, last June, my father, who was an active alcoholic, died from suicide, and it was devastating to me. And with RT's wife being she was actually a friend of mine, I let her know right away, and these guys contacted me immediately to make sure I was okay, if there was anything I needed. And they came to my house, picked me up to drive me to the airport, and RT, before we left the driveway, insisted that I run in the house and get a sweater because he was worried I might be cold on the plane. But I don't know how I would have survived that without the support that I got from my friends, and these guys were the first ones there.
He's pretty much an open book. I mean, people who know him love him because he's an open book. He's got an open heart. He has a very gregarious personality, and he lights up the room when he walks in.
For the most part, I find that both these guys to be truly who they represent themselves to be online, in their real life even more so. Their generosity, their kindness, and their spirit of recovery.
My husband has helped more people than anyone I know in this world.
It's a very warm site. When you first come on, you get welcomed by people. We welcome everybody, that's our job. But everybody, all the rest of the people that come on and welcome the new members, why do they do it? Well, that's what we do at meetings. We welcome the newcomers.
Saw meeting glasses, he couldn't see too good.
And I'll tell you, this guy could eat a piece of kishka like nobody could eat kishka.
In my younger years, I let my spirit run. Getting high, drinking all the time just for fun. And I don't know where or when I crossed that line, and I started dying. I was so far gone, I couldn't find myself. On the borders of insane is where I screamed for help. Then I found the door that opened up my eyes, and I came alive. In the rooms where broken angels go, and love is like an army that comes to save your soul. In the room,
how I explain, the first thing I say is take your time, have fun, enjoy it.
Explore.
Explore. I use the word explore.
Every
so
time.
Explore, go to the toolbar, click on every single thing so you can see all the features that we have. We're very deep and very broad, and even on all the drop-down boxes, look at them, click it so you know what we have. We have 2 video tutorials on our site where it takes you through the sign-up process on how to do your profile and post a picture and get started with that. And then there's another tutorial that explains how to get onto our video meetings and get the best results.
In the rooms where broken angels go, and love is like an army that comes to save your soul.